Team Start back course talking FF7, we're talking Rebirth. We have an important bit of info today regarding if you're buying the game digitally. This video is pretty much exclusively for the digital players, of course. Some of the advantages to buying a game digitally is you get to preload the game, which is obviously very important for a game like this. It's massive. It's 150 gigabytes, so it's nice to have, you know, a couple days or so to preload the game, but also getting to play the game as soon as it drops, right? As soon as it hits like midnight, February 29th, you can just hop right into it. Where there's obviously advantages to buying a game physically as well. For one, people have got the game early. Obviously, that's one of the benefits. If you buy the game like online or whatever, you could just happen to get it early. There's also people that I've seen, we're getting close to release, right? We're like 4 days away at this point. There's people who don't even have like an update yet on their game that they ordered, and some of them ordered the game like a long ass time ago, and they're still just like on the shipping label. So there's obviously downsides to that, but buying the game physically is like an easier install. You can install the disc, and then you have to do some sort of like a download, digital download or whatever. I don't think there's going to be a day one patch for the game, at least that I've seen yet. Also, a lot of people like to buy games physically because you have it, you own it, it's yours. You're not like subservient to like the PlayStation Network and whether or not it's going to go down at some point. You can access your games and all that other shit, right? Generally speaking, I do buy games physically, but not really online because I don't ever want to like, if I'm really hyped for a game, it not come on time. Like, obviously it'd be nice to get a game early, but I see too many people that, like, I know there's people whenever Crisis Core Union came out, there's people that literally didn't get it for like either weeks or like months after release. Like, it took a long time to get that in the mail. And if I'm going to buy a game physically, I just usually go to the store and buy it. Because back on topic. So when it comes to the digital version of the game, I came across an interesting bit of info regarding like the preload date and time, and also the release date and time. And at least for the US, and I'm assuming other time zones as well, it's going to be time zone based. So I was looking up something for Rebirth, and I went to the PlayStation Store and seen that it was showing for me that the game was releasing on February 28th at 11 p.m. Central Time. No means is this like a new thing. This happened as long as I can remember. If you're buying a game digitally, it's time zone based, and generally like New Zealand was always like the one that got it technically the earliest. I remember I used to actually have my Xbox One set to New Zealand time zone. For some reason it worked, and you could like download games and get them like early. It's pretty cool. Anyways, when it comes to the US time zones, it's East Coast is midnight for the 27th. It works its way back like by hours. So like Central Time's next, which is me, 11 p.m. And then it's Mountain Time, 10 p.m. And then it's Pacific Time, 9 p.m. And then it's like Alaska and Hawaii or something. And I also learned that this is like the same thing for the preload dates. It's just time zone based, and it's going to be tomorrow, obviously. It'll be East Coast midnight, the 27th. Then it works its way back. So again, for me, Central Time, it's an hour behind. So it'll be tomorrow at 11 p.m. on 26th, which gives me like another hour or so technically, because I probably would have waited till, if I didn't know about this, I would have waited till midnight to try to like pre-install or whatever. So it's kind of cool. It's a little bit of extra time technically for installing the game. One thing I'm unsure of exactly is how this works with all the other time zones and all the other regions of the world, because I actually asked this on Twitter and had people provide some screenshots from the PlayStation Store, and it's just showing like midnight locally their time, like midnight 29th for the release date and shit of the game, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, like, because then that would be them getting it like so many fucking hours ahead of me, because they're like way ahead of me, right? There's people that give me screenshots that are like just like an hour behind on Japan or something like that, and Japan's like 12 or so hours or more ahead of me, so like they'd be getting it like half a day before me and shit, if that's how it worked, but it doesn't. One of those time zones I showed is like 14 hours ahead of me, so like when it would be midnight on the 29th for them, it would be like fucking 10 a.m. for me or some shit. And obviously, I'm not getting the game at 10 a.m. on the 28th. We're getting it at 11 p.m. And the other time zone's also midnight the 29th, but they're only like 3 hours ahead of me. So when it'd be midnight for them, it'd be like 9 p.m. for me, which again is not when I'm getting the game. So I don't exactly know what's going on there. You guys are just kind of have to look into it depending on where you live at, I guess. Well, this is that unless I'm doing something wrong with the math, which is definitely possible, it doesn't seem like there's like a worldwide release time. Like it's releasing like midnight in this particular region, and then based on where you live at, you're getting it this time, or this time, or whatever the fuck is. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm losing my mind. I've tried looking up like release times in other regions. Like I've tried looking up like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth UK release time, and it's just like it just keeps saying like February 29th, and it just you get articles about like the demo release time and the demo update like release time and all that other shit. So I can't track it down. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why it's so complicated to find out exactly when the shit's releasing in other regions. Anyways, the entire point of this video is that we're all trying to play the game as soon as possible, right? We're trying to get, if you're buying digitally, you want to preload it as soon as possible. Maybe you have like slower internet or whatever the fuck. And at least here in the US, we're all playing it at the exact same time. It's just based on time zones, obviously. But it's good to know, like, if you're, like, you know, towards the West Coast, you can get on that bitch, like, early as fuck. Like, I'm going to have to wait till 11 p.m. Other people have to wait till actually midnight and shit. But you can get on the game as, like, early as, like, 9 p.m. and shit here in the U.S., which is pretty cool. Super excited, man. We're almost here. It's taken a long-ass time. It's hard to believe that we're just a few days away from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, second part of the remake project. I still don't know what I'm going to do with the playthrough. I don't know if I want to just kind of go through it sort of fast. I'm not just going to run the story only, obviously, but I kind of want to get through that, maybe get that out of the way so the spoilers aren't a thing, and then maybe on like that second playthrough, kind of try to do everything that's possible in the game. I don't know yet exactly what I'm going to do. I might take it slow. I don't know. I'm definitely going to vibe with the game for a few days. I don't know what we're going to do for content creation just yet for the game. But I'm definitely gonna, at least the first couple days, just gonna be probably playing the shit out of the game. Anyways, dudes, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter @DavidYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.